All right. Okay. On the last episode of Unks in the Building, UNCS. Unks in the Building. We talked about. I'm gonna talk about this next episode. I probably said that at some point in time. I think I said that at some point in time. But anyway, that's what we're gonna do this time. No Reddit stories. Just your resident Uncle Byron here with my lovely wife, Auntie Stacy.
Hello.
We was talking about you can't compartmentalize people, and how I had these ratchet situations at one point in time in my life. Situationships, indeed. And some of these people, you can't take them nowhere. And I made the comment about, because I was just being ridiculous, but it made me think about some other stuff. I made the comment about not wearing a sheer dress with your butt cheeks out at a black tie affair. So I'm going
like a work black
like
tie
a work event. So you need to be professional because you gonna bring that silly stuff with you and embarrass me. And you won't even know you did it. You're doing it because everybody in your circle got blue yarn braided in their hair too. Sometimes it look cool, but it ain't for the black tie. But the thought process that I had, it reminded me of number one on the call sheet.
Good, very good.
Okay, reminded me of number one on the call sheet and some individuals on there. You saw the men, you saw the women, and some of them esteemed others much higher than themselves, which is always a good thing. But it reminded me of a conversation. It happened. They gave some people their flowers. You know, what's her name? Tessa Thompson.
Was a very different.
It was heavy. It was heavy. It was like watching a slavery documentary. It wasn't good. It wasn't happy. It wasn't happy at all.
That's not the point you're trying to make.
It's not the point I'm trying to make. Mm-hmm. But the point I'm trying to make is the people that were on there. Mm-hmm. Legends, absolute legends. Angela Bassett, Whoopi Goldberg, Viola Davis, Halle Berry, Afro Woodard, yeah. Some very, very good actresses were talking. And I started thinking about this one in particular, Gabrielle Union. Her and Taraji P. Henson. I used to love Taraji P. Henson, okay? I did. But they were on the red carpet. I'm sure you remember this. Mm-hmm. It was floating around social media. And one of them, I think it was Taraji, had the dress. It was black and it was sheer up top, nipples covered. And Gabrielle Union had the black top, butt cheeks was out. On the bottom, yeah. Butt cheeks was out. And people were snapping pictures and stuff like that. In my head, I said, Unc. That's the other side of me.
This is the Unc view. Yes, it's coming out.
I said, how you gonna teach the kids if you competing with them? Because you dress like Sexy Red, and everybody got problems with how Sexy Red is acting. Sexy Red was doing what Sexy Red's supposed to do. She was turning up because she's young. She was throwing money and stuff in barefoot, dancing in the aisles. You at 50 should not be doing that. Mm-hmm. And we saw the regalness, and I think people had problems with it, but we saw the regalness.
Juxtaposition of the
we saw the regalness of Felicia Rashad.
Yeah.
Felicia Rashad came on Breakfast Club, and she says, "Hey, we always been respectful." And Charlamagne challenged her on that, and I understood where his question came from. But she repeated herself. She said, "We've always been respectful." And I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? We have always been respectful.
What was
and
she
it wasn't that.
To?
It wasn't.
What was it in reference to?
I can't remember. But I think he was kind of alluding to the fact that like people treat her differently when she comes into the room, like that kind of vibe. Mm-hmm. And she said, and I was like, you know what? while I don't necessarily agree, I love that she said that. I don't agree that we've always been respectful, but she said it, and it's kind of like, you know what? I'm on board with that, because now we can internalize and start becoming more of that instead of just walking around here accepting that we just run around here being ignorant and foolish. This is my problem with the shenanigans that happen on the red carpet, because I'm like, you don't need to be trying to party with them. There's a certain point in time where you have to stop. Yes, you were the it girl at 22. You played that 19-year-old for 40 years.
Literally, yeah.
She still looked pretty good.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
Both of them look good for their
amazing.
age.
Now, I wouldn't even put for their age in there.
Yeah, very true. That's a true statement. Amazing. They still look good.
Yeah.
You have nothing to prove.
And that's what made it kind of rough.
You have nothing to prove.
Because it felt like she took herself a notch down and showed that she needed something to prove. Because I'm sick of seeing people's butts, honestly, and women's everything.
Come on.
The sheer fashion is not fashion. Like, everything doesn't have to be sheared, Lord. But that's just my personality.
Let me tell you when it was cool.
And I love fashion, but I love seeing, different things out there. But it's the same thing over and over again. But it was about, and I understand Hollywood. We won't ever be able to understand it because we're not women in Hollywood. And watching that,
right.
Documentary lets you know how difficult being a woman, a black woman, first of all, in Hollywood is very difficult.
Yeah.
So I imagine it was we're still relevant. I'm still sexy. Don't you forget it type of thing with, the dresses that they chose.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still going to look at you as old.
Yeah.
They're still going to be seen as old, and you're going to be cast as the mother because that's the age that you are. But they're still they have to claw and fight for their relevance.
Absolutely.
And that's why it was such a different vibe in documentaries where these men, it was so beautiful to see. I'm so glad we saw it the way we saw it. We saw the men one first and then the woman second. I mean, that was how they presented it.
Right.
But the men were giving them each other flowers. Like, I was inspired by this person. This person is amazing. When you see them act, you're just, wow, flawless. Like, basically, they were all like, we're so glad to be among this class of men.
Right.
Because they're the best. They're the best of the best. And I'm inspired by each and every one of them. That's basically how the show was.
Right.
And it was lovely to see. And
Which doesn't happen.
Which doesn't happen
It
often.
doesn't happen.
Well, sometimes when you're in a room and you're the only black person there, and then you see, there's another black person, you're suddenly like, okay, well, is it going to be a good one or a bad one? What's this going to be? I'm like, we're going to be friends or enemies, because sometimes it's a competition, right? Because that person is like, well, now both of us are up for whatever, especially if you're a woman with a woman,
right? Ain't but one slot. We got to try to get it.
But it's sad. It's a sad reality.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
Very
it's sad. We're trying to change it, but we have to also acknowledge where we're at. I was talking to this girl at work who's looking for a job in corporate America, and she's like, my work will speak for me. And I'm like, no, it won't, baby. It will not speak for you. You have to speak for you. You have to advocate for yourself and announce things that you shouldn't have to announce. But that's the corporate world. I see the reason why they thought that it would be a good idea to be like, don't forget, I still got it.
Right.
But you're saying don't compete with who you're supposed to be teaching, because there's a way to look beautiful and sexy in a way that doesn't go the same thing as what they are doing. You are Michael Jordan, right? Michael Jordan had to, the older he got, change and add things to his game. He still competed at a very high level until the end. Wizard years is something else, but well, LeBron's still doing it.
LeBron James, yeah. it's like when you're young, you can be faster and quicker with your first steps and jump over everybody and dunk on them and all these circus shots and acrobatics mid-air and throwing it off and spinning the ball off the backboard. You know, all kinds of fantastic stuff when you're young. When you're old, it's back to the basket. I gotta play smart. I gotta, you know what I'm saying, do the fade away.
Conserve
Bump
energy.
them a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Use my weight. Put that grown man weight. You know, when you post up moves, he had to add stuff. Michael Jordan wasn't posting up in '87. Not like that. You know, so it's different stuff that you have to do. You have to keep adapting for where you are so that you can compete. These people in that moment took away from that. It's like where I should be teaching you, hey, listen, this is how an actor moves. This is the decisions that we make. Sidney Poitier is quoted on that number one on the call sheet by Eddie Murphy saying like, yo, this ain't for you. Mm-hmm. He effectively told him like, yo, you don't play this type of role. Like you're
a breath of fresh
air. You're
air.
Eddie, you know, be the breath of fresh air. Don't go down. Don't try to be these other guys who are doing these serious, very like, you're funny. Like stay funny, be different, do your wild laugh and be that guy and keep writing your Coming to Americas, your Boomerangs, your Harlem Night. Keep doing
that was the breath
Golden
of fresh
Child
air he
like
meant.
Huh?
I think that was the huge part of the breath of fresh air that he meant. That we're seeing you in these powerful roles.
Yeah.
Without being, you can send a message without being overtly.
He was trying to be like, he was supposed to be Alex. What's his name?
I don't remember the name.
Or
the person.
The person who wrote Malcolm X, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alex Haley?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank there, but he was supposed to play that. And it's like, bro, why would you play this serious documentary level role he would have been in his early 20s at the time?
Well, it would have been a move.
I know, but that's the thing is that's what Sidney Poitier was telling him, like, yo, keep trailblazing over here, and instead of following the path of Morgan Freeman, it's like that's not you. And it's that type of advice that set his career up to just be like, all right, now we following that Vampire in Brooklyn life. Like I'm making this whole thing, and ultimately, Eddie Murphy's a genius in many different aspects when it comes to his production and acting and stuff like that. People can hate all they want to, but this man makes some crazy stuff back then in ways that would not have. Let's talk about how he did Coming to America and they made him put Louis Anderson in there because there was no white people in the film.
Right.
And then Boomerang, the same thing is like there was no white people.
Somebody said,
who's going to run the company?
Well, he made that joke.
Yeah.
But people were saying in that movie how, oh, you flipped it on its head because all the black people were in. He was like, no, it was just a movie
that wasn't about
there were no black people there, and so no white people there. But if I made a movie with all white people, nobody would be like, "There's no black people."
Where's the black people at? Right.
So it was a black company with black people in.
Right
there. Now it's beautiful to see that there are actual companies like that.
Yeah. The point I'm trying to make is Sidney Poitier told, after he ran his race, he was pretty much done by that time, he told Eddie Murphy, like, hey, he gave him something to work with, to pass down. Imagine if Sidney Poitier would have been like, oh, nah, but Eddie, you ain't finna sit back here and do Coming to, I'm finna come out with Coming to Wisconsin. What?
Right.
This, like, to try to compete with him, like, oh, I'm finna, you wore this black, this red leather suit, I'm gonna put a black one on. I'm finna do a lyric. No, Sidney, stay over there. Listen, this is how you do it. This is your next step. This way. Okay, I get it now. I understand.
And Eddie looking to him as a person to revere.
Right. And it's like,
but you can only position yourself in that, well, as a trailblazer, right?
Right.
And in that documentary, you could see what was her name?
Angela Bassett?
Oh,
Viola Davis?
the one who talked about Whoopi.
Tessa Thompson.
Tessa Thompson.
No. She talked about Angela Bassett.
I'm saying you could see that Tessa Thompson. She talked about Whoopi.
Okay.
As well, where she talked about whoever it is that she was paying homage to.
Right.
These people paved the way, and I am now here because
of that.
What they did. And there wasn't enough of that, but maybe we talked to all trailblazers, mostly in the women, because to me there wasn't a lot of paying homage to. Wow, when I saw Whoopi doing, The Color Purple, I was like, whew.
They made brief, the younger ones made brief mention of that. And that's why I was wondering, like, were the questions tailored a certain type of way? Because, like,
the focus was not
who inspired you.
It was more about
how hard it is.
Let you realize that this is not all fun and games here. We're still fighting. And that's the reality that they're in. So we can't be really mad at it because this is where they're at. You look at Viola Davis, who is an absolute
beast,
just one of the best actresses out there.
She got a new movie out too,
and she still constantly talks about Meryl Streep. In the sense that
Black Meryl Streep, what are you gonna pay me that way?
Get paid the same as Meryl Streep would.
Oh, nor does she have the awards.
And she's consistently compared to Meryl Streep in terms of how talented she is. But if they're both
Meryl Streep
up for a role, Meryl will be
paid a whole lot more.
Right.
I think she's kind of one-dimensional to me too.
She's a very good actress.
She's good.
Let's not play no games with Meryl. Meryl is
listen.
Top notch as well.
Here's my thing. I'm not taking away from her. There's a lot of good white actresses. What I'm saying is, what Viola Davis did, and what was that? Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. You know what I'm talking about?
I never saw that.
Oh my gosh. But the range is insane.
So you haven't seen enough. You haven't seen enough of
Meryl Streep.
Yes.
I know she couldn't play that role.
But that role was not made for her.
Okay. Well, what are we doing here? That role wasn't made for you. Know what you're doing? The same thing they're doing to these black women. Well, what role? You know what? That's why, I'm going to say this. That's why I was so happy to hear what Whoopi Goldberg said. All the movies that weren't made for her. Oh, this is for this white woman. This for this white woman. This for you can't do this because you're a black woman. And she came in and took the roles they didn't want and made hit after hit after hit.
Sister Act, Bette Midler.
Yeah, and I'm like, I could see it, but it would have been a completely different movie.
Correct. It would have been good still. But
did you know, like Bad Boys was supposed to be for, I forgot the two actors' names, two white guys. Mm-hmm. You know that? Mm-hmm. And it's like, now looking back, like I couldn't have seen it any other way.
Listen,
I can't even fathom I could see Bette Midler. She could have did that.
At that point in time, Bette Midler was super dope.
Yeah, she was hot. She probably could have did that. But what was the other one? This was another one when she did Jumpin' Jack Flash.
I don't remember who the person was that she replaced.
And I was like,
not replaced, but
replaced.
The person who gave up.
They said they didn't want it, and then she came in and killed. And it's like, you know what? That's great. That's great. But I like to hear that story because that's the stories the young people need to hear.
And I think that that's what you're looking for. I think you often get disappointed when you want people to be in a role that they're not prepared to do. Like
you trying to make this Tyler Perry conversation happen. I don't want to talk about him.
Tyler Perry, you want him to be a different person.
You know what? So let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something about Tyler Perry. Wait, you want him to be this teacher, this prolific, game-changing teacher that will help the next generation. And wait a minute.
Let me enunciate the point.
And that's not his role in his mind. Maybe as he gets older, maybe he'll do it. But in his head, I'm still a contender.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to forge my name in history books. I'm still trying to make a name for myself. You see me as this person who's a billionaire now and I can do anything. I'm still figuring it out as I go. The playbook has not been written. What has been written is the way that I did it. Other people can go out and try and do what I did. But right now, I'm still working this thing out.
Yeah.
With Taraji.
I got to speak on him, though. Before we move Taraji in there.
I was going to tie it together.
Go ahead.
With Taraji and Miss Gabrielle Union, they are still trying to fight for their roles as well. So that's why they were trying. I already said it earlier.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing as him. Like, you're looking to me to teach people, baby.
Yeah.
I'm not in a position to do that. Sidney Poitier could stand there and say, sir, I'm a legend. Everyone reveres me as a legend. Gabrielle Union is not a legend. And neither is Taraji.
No.
So they're still trying to claw their way through to make something up for themselves.
So you're right. Okay. That's not my problem with Tyler Perry, though. That's not my problem with Tyler Perry. My problem with Tyler Perry is he does not have the responsibility to do anything. Right?
I'm glad you said that.
He does not have the responsibility to do anything. He helps more Black actors and actresses continue to have work. That is admirable.
Consistent work.
That
they would not have had.
Without
him.
My issue is
the wigs. Go ahead.
That's part of it.
Go ahead.
My issue is a couple things. I don't like how Black men in particular are portrayed on the movies. Like, well, we don't have now, especially not a network television or on no show, positive images where people can grow up and see, oh, this is what a man is supposed to be. This is how, and this is where I'm saying, like, again, Tyler has no responsibility to do this. But the thing that's disappointing is, like, bruh, every single time you show us, it's especially if you're dark skinned, you're gonna be angry and abusive.
Okay, but Tyler Perry is
he telling his story.
Telling his life story. He's telling his
story. I know it.
And it works.
It make him money.
He's
making money.
He's telling the tropes that he has in his stories. First of all, he is a Black telenovela writer. He is modern day soap opera. If anybody's ever watched a telenovela, or if they've watched, what was the name of that show that was ridiculous? It wasn't Paradise. It was one of those soap operas that were just
I know what you're talking about. Wild. I don't remember the name of it. They had a little clown on it and all that.
Wild.
The little person that used to run out and all that stuff.
Anyway.
I know what you're talking about. My sister used to watch it.
The point is that this man is simply using characters in his life that he's seen, and he's just making the same story over in different ways. So the person that dark-skinned, awful person was his dad. The light-skinned savior guy was a good guy but poor. I don't know who that is, but each person in his life, he does these
just
tropes.
The opposite of his dad.
Yeah, he just does these tropes. And it's creating a storyline for people, or, you know, these ideologies where people are like, well, this is creating, you know, like, where's the person that we can look up to? He's not writing somebody for you to look up to.
And that's my only problem.
He's writing guilty pleasures.
I know, I get it. But like I said, I ain't got... get money. Get money, Tyler.
Channel.
Perry, get money. I don't mind you getting money. I'm a fly on the wall. It doesn't matter at all. You know what my opinion is, but I'm just saying that's the thing that's a little bit disappointing, because it all works together, right? People can only aspire to be what they see. If they don't have a vision inside of their head, they got to get a vision outside of them.
But that's
right?
why he does the randos, not randos, but those one-off movies that are well done with good production
Right.
quality. That he like Good Deeds.
Think
where
about
he
this,
was like
right?
a rich man, good man, that type of thing. He does them. The one that he just did with the woman, with
The I forgot the
Yeah.
number. It's like a 3-8 to 6 something. Another.
yeah,
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. So he does the certain ones where there's good production quality, where he's things to look up to, where you're
Right.
like, there it is.
Yeah.
But his bread and
It's
butter
so tough, and that's the
is
thing.
these telenovelas.
It's the same trope over and over again, right? It's kind of like
Yes, it is.
give
and it
us,
will do
give
the same
us.
trope over and
But I'm
over.
not talking about the trope of his shows. I'm talking about the reason for this whole conversation. If you're gonna do it, I don't even care necessarily that you don't mentor somebody, that you don't bring somebody up to do it. But sometimes you could be mentoring somebody. Somebody could just be watching you. Somebody's always watching you. It's like, so Angela Bassett didn't know Tessa Thompson was performing What's Love Got to Do with It at her talent show when she was a kid.
Right.
You inspired her. It would help out so many if you sit back here and be like, yo, all right, I used to live in my car. I started doing these plays. Nobody believed in me. Got this going. It popped. Black community supported. Got these movies popping. Black community supported. Now we're going crazy. I came from the gutter. And we're still moving forward. Right? And then you at the point where I remember he mentioned in one of his things, he reached out to some black actress and she turned him down. Mm-hmm. Who was kind of popping. It was like he wanted to do this particular person inside of his films and stuff like that. And they told him no. And it's like, this is the kind of shenanigans that you got to deal with, because there's a lot of these black female actresses that ain't working. And you, because the way that you call them telenovela and soap opera, and it's like, look at the stigma that you kind of have around your film. So now you want to get you a quote unquote A-lister, and they like, nah, I'm good. And that doesn't work. And it's like he had the opportunity. And again, he doesn't have responsibility at all, but he still has the opportunity. Get with some good writers. Stop playing with these bad wigs where it stops being a joke. Because at certain times, it's like, Tyler, you get money, but you're also a joke to a lot of people. And it's like you have done so much to build up this whole bigger than Hollywood studio situation. You could inspire somebody to do the same. But imagine if you got actually nice like Hollywood with your own films.
He can though.
He can.
Shows that he can.
And that's the thing.
He does
It's
it with
like
certain movies.
That's the
when
thing.
He does the budget, he will do it, and there's no question that
That
it's
this
a
is
high production
polished.
quality.
Yes.
No nonsense, no
They
ridiculous
shoot
wigs.
Marvel movies there. Like
Correct.
he can do it. And it's the
Yes.
thing is like,
But
imagine
why
how
would he do it? If I could spend, this is in his
that's
mind.
bugging, bro.
He's thinking,
I don't like
if
it.
I could spend $5,000 per day on a 5-day thing where I'm literally going to make millions, and I'm paying these people
Right.
a fraction of what I would pay. Well, actors won't come. The
If he ain't
A-list
doing it
actors.
himself.
Why?
Or them
why,
doing it
why?
himself.
What? Because to appease
He has
who?
no motivation to do it. Yeah.
Who? Because this is working. This is
Yeah.
a machine now.
Yep. There's no
I am
motivation to do it.
convinced that Tyler Perry does not have full-fledged stories. He has an idea of a
Concept.
story, a concept of a story. I know the characters. I know the main plot. And then we're just going to figure it out.
Fix
'Cause
everything else in
sometimes
post-production.
there's major holes in the story.
But we ain't going back for no reshoots.
Nobody cares. That's the point. That's what I'm trying to say. No one
Well,
cares. When it's those shows, people watch it like guilty pleasure. They don't need a solid, fully wrapped up, no
Yeah.
gaping holes in the storyline. They just want to be like, whoa. They just want to
that's the
wow.
thing, man,
He's a
like,
wow factor, dude.
I guess
You're gonna get what you get.
I get it.
You're not his market.
I'm not it. You know, here's the thing. This to bring this full circle and wrap up. I just want, if there's anything I could ask, I just want these people to recognize who they are. Because that's one thing that we've done is take away our power by looking at ourselves a little bit too low. Some things that just shouldn't have happened. I don't know who was their stylist on that day. It starts being tough. It's like once you start seeing somebody you have a whole lot of respect for not respect themselves, it's hard to keep them at that same level of respect.
Well,
it's tough.
It's hard to really know your heroes. Like, you know, you've said it before. Like,
you don't want to
get know
see
your
them
heroes.
like that, man. We know
But
too much.
I just saw this video of this girl. She's a fitness person, but she used to do she was a video girl back in the day.
Yeah.
Shawnee.
Like that. Yeah.
And she was like, one of the last videos she did was with Eric Benet, Love Don't Love Me. And she was talking about it, called Story Time.
Right.
And she was saying she put on a couple of pounds, but it was nothing back. But she felt like it was crazy amount in her mind. And she was like, I feel like big, huge thighs in these shorts that they have me on. I like the shorts, but I didn't want to, I was feeling, not great about myself. So I was talking to the stylist and I was like, is there anything else? Because I feel like my thighs look so huge. Like I'm not feeling it. Is there anything else that I can wear? And Eric Benet was in the room at the time getting his stuff done, styling and whatever. And he came up to her. He said, wow, you're just like, he talked to her for a little bit. He said, wow, you're just like Halle. And she's thinking, well, oh my gosh, he's comparing me to Halle Berry, the most beautiful woman in the world, because he's married to her at this point. And she says, she's just as insecure as you. And she's like, I can't believe that Halle Berry, I'm thinking she's the most beautiful woman in the world. And he's telling her the shorts are perfectly fine. Both of you, you're beautiful. So you're absolutely beautiful woman, but you're sitting here nitpicking at yourself. Why aren't the shorts good enough?
Right.
You're absolutely beautiful. Everybody else would kill to have to look like you. And you're here nitpicking, feeling like you have thunder thighs. And she's like, Halle Berry, as beautiful as she is also insecure.
Right.
So it's like you don't see the greatness of yourself a lot of the time. Because you're seeing what's missing a lot of the time. You're seeing what's not right. You're finding fault. And you're also not seeing how you inspire others. That's why I thought it was so powerful to see those men speaking to each other about each other. Like Will Smith saying, I was trying to be Eddie in every movie I did in the beginning. Like Independence Day was me.
You say you want me Eddie in Star Wars.
Eddie in Star Wars or whatever. Like I was trying to be Eddie Murphy. That me doing Independence Day was me trying to do Eddie Murphy. Yeah. And I was like, wow. So, it takes some humility to talk about the people that inspired you and how they inspired you and how deeply they moved you. Yeah. So, I absolutely loved that documentary, the first one. I mean, I didn't dislike the second one. I thought it was going to be more of the same.
Yeah. Oh, there needs to be, this is the homework, okay? There needs to be more black women and men giving flowers to black women.
I love it.
Because the thing is, these women should value themselves for the magic that they do. And granted, they might not be getting paid for it, which sucks.
The women don't have an international
market, not as a leading woman.
Not any one of them. That is very sad.
The closest thing, so Halle Berry has been the one that's probably crossed over the most.
She doesn't act anymore.
No, she doesn't. She's probably crossed over the most. Then after her, Whoopi Goldberg?
None of them.
Because Angela Bassett, we love her.
You have Will Smith, who's an international superstar. You have The Rock, who can do whatever movie and it'll sell all over the world. Yeah.
Denzel.
You have Denzel Washington, and you have Eddie Murphy.
Yep.
At least, and I'm talking about no matter the race.
Yeah.
Of.
And Sam Jackson wasn't on there, but
he's there. The men have so many, in my opinion, where they're number one that would like Michael B. Jordan's up there, like, you know,
Chadwick Boseman was on his way.
Been, but it's like the women don't, and that's why the tone of the other one was different.
It was
because they haven't reached
anything
number one on the call sheet.
No, they have, but it's been in black movies like Waiting to Exhale. Was you was number one on the call sheet on that.
We need those movies.
It crossed over,
those movies.
But it wasn't like it's still considered a black film. Like Love Jones,
that's my movie, baby.
You can't. Brown Sugar.
Yes.
You know, What's Love Got to Do with It? Mm-hmm. Biopics, we get those. You know what I'm saying? But they just
Jamie Foxx and stuff. But
yeah,
it's sad, but there's a lot of work to do with the women. So that's why you have Taraji wearing boobs out,
shirt and the other
trying to compete because they can't rest in there. There's a calmness and a peace to the men because they've arrived. And they know I'm such and such. And so now I can impart wisdom.
Right.
But they're still trying to get on. And that's sad. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Where the women,
I guess I'd be looking
looking to be relevant.
And this is the last
Taraji thing. Moved when she was like
17, 18 years old.
No, she was like full grown woman.
What's it
with a kid.
Oh yeah.
Moving to be an actress, out of like college. 27 years old or something like that.
Yeah, fresh out of college.
People were like, this is late for you.
I was about to say something. No, but yeah, this folks, it's hard to move forward if you won't move forward. Like, I understand it's difficult to feel like you've arrived when you haven't, but you always have to be cognizant of somebody looking at you. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that's the way that it is. Somebody's looking up to you. You have more admirers than you know. Yeah. Somebody's watching you right now as a regular person, and they're saying, such and such, every time I see them, they got their hair done. I really like that they spend the time to take care of you know what I'm saying? Or such and such always keeps his shoes clean. Nothing else ain't fresh, but his shoes don't be scuffed at all. Just whatever, just a decent person, always smiling, always nice. Just whatever it may be. It could be something that I'm saying small, trivial stuff, but just whatever. Somebody's watching that stuff. They're watching. No, you may not be where you want to be, but you're still farther along than where somebody else is. And you can still be somebody's motivation to something to aspire to be like, you know what? People looked at Felicia Rashad, and she was on Cosby Show? She was 30, 31?
I don't remember.
She was very young on the Cosby Show, and it's like, yo, everybody was looking at her like, yo, this is the mom. This is the quintessential mom on TV.
The quintessential wife.
And wife, that part. But I'm saying kids watching that was like, this is it. And it's like, I couldn't imagine her doing something like that.
Who?
Felicia Rashad.
You couldn't imagine her doing no.
If I saw her like that,
but even
I'm like, you mom, what are you doing, mom? What you doing?
No, but even she just carried herself in a different way.
I get it.
But even Halle Berry, like she did Cher back in the day, like when she won the award, but it was done so well.
Right.
Like she did the sheer top with the flowers and stuff. Yeah. But it was done so well. Like I've never seen her.
Still classy.
Yeah. And I think it was very sexy. They
was out here looking
one of the
like
most beautiful women
like
in the world.
Lil' Kim did it with the whole. It was
just was.
It was a lot, man.
It wasn't just a lot. It was just we seen it.
That part.
It wasn't original. We seen that on everyone.
That part.
Why are we doing the same that everybody else is doing? You should. I don't know.
Right,
That's a personal
advice.
opinion.
We regular people.
Super regular. But guess what?
Somebody watching us. No, I'm not. I ain't joking. I'm saying like you people be on your Instagram looking like.
Yeah, I remember one girl told me, "You look so much taller in person. I mean, so much taller online. You're short." And I was like, "What?
What is going on
happening?"
here?
And so it's like you don't know who's.
People be looking. They make up stories and stuff like that. They may not follow.
They may not say anything, but it's not even about people looking, but it's about what's the mark you want to leave on the world.
So that's how we're gonna wrap up.
Yeah.
What is going to be your legacy?
You look at people like Morgan Freeman and stuff like that, where you can tell they generally generate same thing as Denzel. They kind of go towards certain characters because they want to be
portrayed
viewed a certain way. But like generally speaking, I mean, sometimes they choose to be the bad guy to throw a twist in there. But like, for the most part, you would think of them as a certain way, whereas. And even Viola, she to me it seems like she chooses certain roles, but maybe that's what she's given. Right. But as an individual, if I were an actress, as I am today, I think of what I want to leave behind and how I want to make people feel when they encounter me.
Mm. Point I'm trying to make, folks, is once you open your eyes in the morning and step outside where somebody else can see you, somebody somewhere is looking at you. You need to be aware of the wake that you leave when you hit that puddle. Okay, when you splash on the scene, you're gonna leave a wake. Somebody's gonna look at that.
Or be in it.
And you need to be aware of it to not do stupid stuff to the best of your ability. All right, folks, it's been another fantastic evening with all of you all. I do hope that you continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I know it's a little bit different again, not a Reddit story tonight, just something that was on my heart. Hopefully you enjoy. Please continue to join us on our journey.
Bye.